Tuesday practice, which is Wednesday for us for a Friday game. Good practice. Got a lot of good work in. Team is getting excited about playing. And they're right where they need to be. So go ahead and fire away.
When you see the guys that have practiced here game week, do you see a difference in them? Like now they've got something tangible to look forward to. Do you see a different energy, a different focus?
You do see kind of another one step up of their focus and their finish on the details and stuff like that. Yeah, you're starting to recognize those things. I've been trying to emphasize to these guys getting ready to play a game. That's different than just training camp. You know, being in game shape is challenging. That was what scrimmages help you do when you're playing 8 to 10, 12 plays in a row. So that's part of it. The other part of it is your preparation in game week about running the routes at the right depth for a receiver and catching it and finishing, all those things, kind of visualizing successful plays even though you're not even playing the game yet. So that's really the big thing right now, is to just get our guys visualizing their roles, their expectations, how they're going to perform it, and then hopefully that's going to be duplicated on Friday night.
How important are players like Casey Roddick, who basically put team both themselves play where you want?
Is critically important because that's so important in this game. You have to have versatility with guys that can play many spots, and you know, Casey, with all the work he's done, he's made a great body transformation in terms of what he looks like, and he's had an excellent camp, had our best camp of all of our linemen. But he can play tackle, he can play guard, he can play center, he can play all those spots, and he's learned all those spots. So I think versatility helps, particularly guys like him that wants to play on the next level. You know, showing that type of versatility is really important, and thank goodness we got a really good guy that's a great example of what that looks like, how he trains, how he practices and prepares, and so the young guys have a great kind of can follow the model of what he's presented for us.
Going off of you name captains, permanent captains. Is leadership different, and is it more of a challenge to keep a team together in the era we're living in?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think it's seasonal. I would tell you that, because each team's different, the makeup of a team's different, so the leadership's going to be different each and every year. I think this team, the reason why we decided to make just a one-time, here are the 4 captains, they're the ones that have really showed you the way in the off season. They've done it in training camp, and they're part of the core of what we are as a program. So there's the expectation that they need to understand there's going to be highs and lows. That's part of leadership. Some of the fun part of leadership is when there's a going through adversity. It's picking guys up and getting them ready to play and answer the bell for the next opportunity. So they understand what their responsibilities are going forward. This season, who knows how it's going to go, but we're going to be optimistic about us doing our best early, hopefully getting a chance to get in rhythm, and then the leadership will come through pretty easy for them. But we're ready for the difficult times too.
Football teams always like to say they're family on any level, high school, college, pro. Has that definition changed at all? What family
it's closer to what a family would resemble now than I would say in years 1 and 2.
Okay.
It is a close football team. They do get along very well with each other. That's something that as a coaching staff you would like to see. That's not critically important, but that's something that it is important from where we are, from where we need to go. We need a pretty good 100% commitment for these guys to understand we got to take our game to another level, and they're trying, all of them individually are really trying to do their best to help us to be the best we can be.
How is the understanding that you were turning, by that same token, that you're turning the page, you may see a former player this weekend, and then that'll run into that too a couple times this season. But talking to some of those guys on and off record, they've mentioned some concerns about instability and lack of control that they felt as former players. I was wondering how you would, without making it personal, how you would address that. And they weren't necessarily criticism of you, but just of stability in general was something that became a recurring theme.
One of the challenges that when you do come into any program, there's a reason why a coaching change does happen or one leaves, and so I think a lot of the challenges at this place for a long period of time has been the inconsistency of the head coach in this position. And I think there's got to be some challenges about creating that foundation and building on something that's, that we're can build on for a positive reason. And that's where I think this team is now. I would say, there were expectations from coaches when guys were recruited here from other coaches about what they thought they would be, and it didn't turn out that way. So I think part of it is part of that argument.
Sure.
But we're happy to be in the position we're in right now. Sometimes you have to go through the fire to really refine yourself to being the type of program and meet those expectations. I think that's where we are right now. It was just took some time to weed out and get some guys that are committed to playing for this great university.
Karl, you anticipate playing both quarterbacks. You've said that. Do you know how that looks? Is it like part scripted, part gut feel, part situational, or do you know how that's going to play out?
All the above. All the above. We're going to see. We're just going to see how the game goes. We have a plan in place of what we want to do. We don't want to express that necessarily to the media, but we'll have to see how that plays out as we go.
Did you talk to any maybe people you've coached with who have been with two quarterbacks and kind of pick their brain about anything?
No, just Mike and I.
Yeah.
He's been in this position many times before in other places, so we both had great discussions about it, and we've talked with the quarterbacks about it. So we're in a pretty good shape with what we want to do going into this game.
What are your expectations for both quarterbacks just in practice leading up to Friday, and how do you feel like your group has responded to this QB battle?
Well, their expectations is for them to play well. They've been playing well all camp. They both, I think both have the assurance from their offensive players that they can win with. So they're excited about both of them. I think that's a comfort level from us as a coaching staff. We feel that those guys can win, can lead an offense and a very productive offense and be very successful. So it's a good situation to have. I would say there's nothing there that's changed their expectations other than to continue to improve and get better week after week and keep engineering and managing the offense as well as they can.
Do you see this as, I'm sorry. Do you see this as it seems like more and more teams are doing that, just not naming a starter. Do you think that's just a trend we're seeing now, or do you think we'll see a trend going forward, or you don't have a start? How do you see it playing out?
Well, our situation is different because we had a guy that was a 4-year starter in Steven Montez, right? So that kind of stacked up the deck behind him for a long period of time of guys that haven't played. So that's what happens when guys that haven't played and a guy that's been a 4-year starter, then all of a sudden you're playing with a different quarterback that hasn't had a lot of experience. In our case, we didn't have, when Steven graduated in 2020, after that season, I only had 2 scholarship quarterbacks here. So we've come a long way from where that point was to where we are now. So I would say, it's not really indicative of, I think our quarterback situation is like anything that's normal that's out there. It took a year or so to kind of get the depth in the position. But I would say each year you have to challenge yourself that there might be a point in time where either one of these guys we're talking about might just end up just taking off and just taking over. Sometimes that happens too. So you just have to kind of judge it game by game and see how productive we are and rate them all in terms of, how well did he play, versus how well did the other guy play, and so you just keep going. But there's no definition about a trend that this is happening in college football just in general. I know some places do it, but sometimes it's because of the issues that we have at that position. So.
Is it challenging for the rest of the offense, or is it just a matter of the players buying into the program and the coaching staff's plans?
In regards to
just having both quarterbacks?
No, they're completely confident in both of these guys. It would be different if half our team didn't like the other, right? That's a different element. So I would say that's not the case. I believe our offensive players feel extremely confident about both of these guys, and that's why we feel comfortable with the direction we're going.
Karl, a year ago you brought in Nico, Tyron, and Kalen. 3 guys from 3 different places, but same position. They didn't know each other, but now they've kind of become really good friends. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that trio and how much you're going to lean on them this year, and how excited you are for the opportunity that they have to play big roles this year?
They're doing really well, and they're our veterans in our group right now. So other than Nigel Bether and those 3, they're veteran at having playing experience, and you know, they've done a great job with their leadership. You know, their leadership doesn't take, you don't have to be a certain age to say, okay, you can qualify to being a leader. I believe you can have those guys come into your program that really exude those qualities from the very start. So those guys are very comfortable helping the other guys that just joined us about getting them going and understanding that process about when they'll be able to play. You know, I'm sure they're expressing the same things to them too. So their leadership has been tremendous, and you know, we want to play the best players, and sometimes the best players are freshmen or sophomores or juniors, but whoever that is, we're going to put the best guys out there.
You bring in guys like Tommy and RJ and Josh to have an immediate impact. Do you foresee them having the impact you had hoped right now in this game on Friday?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll definitely see. They both are coming off of their, you know, just got back practicing and playing, and they'll definitely impact us in a good way. But that's what the expectation is.
Right.
So.
All right, thank you,
All right.
Coach.
Thanks.